Hey everybody, and welcome to another update. This is the August update for Studio WGS. For those of you who do not know, in fact, some of you actually asked, we are actually broadcasting out of Malaysia. And some of you asked, what is the gaming scene like in Malaysia? And let me just say, all five of us are okay. All right, so what we try to do here is we actually try to update you, update us, talk about what we thought is really exciting news in the tabletop gaming scene. And first off, we're gonna look at what's happening with Wargames Atlantic. Now, Wargames Atlantic will just release their Dwarven hosts, and they look really, really nice. They've got the dwarves on rams. They got dwarf axemen, dwarf. I think this is really, really nice, and I think this is setting up for really, really nice base to build historic a 10 uh, game with. The only other game I know which I like is War Master that uses a small scale miniatures, and this could be a start of something brand new, right? A whole bunch of plastic miniatures that you can like, build really, really quick, and paint and play, right? So I'm really excited about that. Also, Wargames Atlantic is releasing their the Survivors box, and that's also quite exciting. If you have a look at the box right here, it's really kind of cool. It's got like guys in cowboy hats and guys in balaclavas and stuff like that, which I think is really really cool. It's uh, it's nice to have games or miniatures that are non-combatants or combat or more modern combatants or more casual combatants, if there's such a thing, for you to add to your game. For me at least, this really really opens things up to different rule sets, right? So more often than not, you have the science fiction rule sets and the historical rule sets and the fantasy rule set, right? But now we can actually investigate the modern rule sets, right? For us over here, we've had force on force being played at the store at some point. In fact, we've actually played a couple of modern rule sets, and now with these miniatures, we can actually pick up all the other rules that will need miniatures like this. Also, it's just more things you can put into your zombie games, whatever your zombie games are, whether it's Walking Dead, the World War Z games, whatever, whichever zombie game you're doing, this civilian box will sort of like really, really be a nice fit. Also, we were waiting for the sharp figure, that's supposed to come in. That one didn't come in, but hopefully it'll be in now because the release date is supposed to be the 4th of September. We're doing this August update in September, and I'll let you know why later in the video. I'm looking forward to this. We talked about this in the last month's update, and we were really quite excited about it, and I still am excited about it. And it's nice to paint this particular character. I mean, if you're into the TV show Sharp, this is a must-have. It's a no-brainer. Okay, so moving along. Oh, very quickly, if there's a sound in the background, it's basically the rain. It's currently storming outside. It's raining really really heavily, and I'm here nice and dry, doing this August update in September. Okay, so let's look at what else we've got here. Next up, let's talk about Mantic Games. For me, at least, here at the store, for Mantic Games does pretty well, but only certain games do much better than other games. At the moment, Halo is all the rage, and in August, the release of the Jiralhane and the brutes basically, and yeah, mercenaries. You can buy them now separately, right? So previously, if you had bought perhaps like the recon set just to try the game out, and then you're wondering whether to move to get the Spartan set, and budget issues and whatever. Now you if you just got the recon set, you can actually pile on all the little bits onto your recon set. The only difference is the Spartan set comes with a lot of nice little other bits that you really should have and get. But we understand some folks, who want to keep things within a certain budget. So if that was the case, then yeah, the recon set, and we got all these different factions now available to buy separately, right? Um, of course, you can also not get the Spartan set and get the Rise of the Banished set, which just came out, which I think is a good idea. But if you're not one of those Halo collectors, then maybe one of these expansion sets are kind of cool. And I'm looking forward to these because I know a lot of folks who just want to paint the figures, and I don't really want to get into the whole set. So this is definitely one of the better solutions to that. Also, we had a look at the GT organized playset, and man, it's really nice, right? Right. If you have a look at it, you actually have a whole bunch of new scouts, right? New Spartans, and this is a Team Wolf. Good name. Team Wolf, which is basically a whole bunch of four different figures that you can get. Now they are recommending that you can either give the prize to the main winner or to raffle it out or whatever. But it's nice that the prize support is unique, right? You've got all these other different bits inside the organized play bit box, but also you have these miniatures. And if you're playing miniatures, the price that you want is miniatures, right? It makes sense. Of course, coming soon is the ODST boxes, but that will probably be in the September, the September update when it does happen. All right, so we were a bit late to do the August update simply because I found out that Warhammer, or the company previously known as Games Workshop, is releasing third season Blood Bowl, and I'm a big fan of Blood Bowl. I think it's one of the best games they've ever made, ever. It's a small game, small amount of figures. Anybody can get into it. You expand it by teams. While a lot of folks say Mordheim, yes, I agree as well. But Mordheim uses a lot of terrain, while Blood Bowl just uses the mat, right, or the board, which I think is brilliant. It's a brilliant game. I think it's one of Jervis Johnson's masterpieces, if you ask me, in terms of game design. But they just released their third season edition, and this one has the Britonians versus the Nekhara undead. It's kind of cool. The Britonians are basically all the nobles, are basically all the blitzers and stuff like that, and all the lions, man, the one you put into the line of skirmish, all the peasants and stuff like that. That's a good concept. I like that. It's very very cool. Facing off against the Nekhara undead. Now let me be frank here. The I stopped doing Blood Bowl in the third edition, not the third season. So it's way back when, right? When they were at this long period of quiet, and they had the living rule book, right? The Blood Bowl living rule book, and from time to time, whenever I get a chance to, I go and collect old Blood Bowl teams. I've done some videos for these Blood Bowl teams. If you like to have a look, the link for that is right there. And I'm very very attracted to games like that, whether it be Dreadball or Guild Ball or any of these sports kind of fantasy games or science fiction games. Maybe it's because I'm chasing the dragon and hoping to get that high I got when I first played Blood Bowl. But let me just say that I was quite excited. I'm not I We don't do very much coverage on Warhammer, but yeah, I'm quite excited about this one. It's been pretty good for Warhammer, for me at least, over the last like year or so, because they just released the balloon, right, the Oriental balloon. That I thought was like really really cool. And now they have the fantasy football, which I think is fantastic. And for a guy like me, who is holding on to every last bit of nostalgia, sure, why not? I'll buy it at some point. But yeah, maybe I should get some of the newer teams to paint. I don't know. We shall see what happens. But that is one of the reasons why this video was late, because as I was doing the first round of this video, I the news came in that they just announcing this. I thought I'll slot it in the August update. Next up, Perry Miniatures. Perry Miniatures have just released their Skirmish in a Box, which this is basically Napoleonic French versus Spanish. Um, it's a it's a new release from them at least. And over here in the store, we've had a few orders for them for the set. Hopefully, when it comes through the store, we'll be able to do an unboxing for it. Perry Miniatures are a very small company, but they're doing miniatures as they want to, right? Which is like it's just the way you should be doing miniatures, right? Not hitting every quarter you got to release something, blah 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 blah. But they've been pacing themselves quite well, and I'm quite looking forward to this. So this month, or at least August, Skirmish in a Box was released. On the Victrix front, the Foot Soldiers are now out, and here at the store, Victrix seems to be the buzzword. A lot of like war bands are being sold. We have a lot of interest. Folks are using miniatures that they got from Victrix, for that they use for Saga, and they're like moving, into using this for Pillage, which I think is a great idea. We have a strong base here of folks who play Saga. All three of them are, really hardcore. So it's really nice that we now have a chance to, bring a new rule set for you to use the same figures, right? That's the whole idea. When it comes to historical miniatures, using the same figures, just changing up the rules, right? So yeah, that and the yeah the foot knights, which I think is a good release as well. If you're in the hobby and you've been painting and this is your thing, right? You'd know that over the last like couple of months, there's been a big buzz about markers, right? In fact, during my flip throughs of magazines, Wargames Illustrated, um, there's Deep Cut Studios have done adverts for the markers, right? If you look at the flip throughs, I do links right there, the playlist. So now we've got people interested and want to do orders. I was told that there was a plastic modeling convention happening in Penang, which is basically north of where I am right now. I'm in Kuala Lumpur, and folks there were doing demonstrations, using I think it was the AK historicals. I think I'm not mistaken. To paint tanks, right? I think that's a great move because that means that um, markers are the gateway. I think it's more of the gateway to get folks into the hobby, and because they were doing it at the plastic modeler event, I was was just a joy. It's joy for me because it means at least folks don't find using markers so strange, right? But the for us here, the big excitement is the speed paint markers, which are supposed to be out now or September. Can't remember, but when those are out, the we already have some people asking about it. I personally would recommend getting the starter because the starter gets all this extra nibs in it, um, to try. And once if you decide that you want to go with it, then get the other colors. Don't like get one or two single pens because if the nib goes wrong, you're stuck, right? You gotta pretty much chuck it, right? So yeah, get the starter if you're gonna get the speed paint, or and use that. Try it out. I personally think that you should be using a brush, but I understand when there's something new out there and you want to try using it. I mean, I remember when Quick Shade first came out and they were selling those in the cans, right? And dipping was a thing. There was a lot of pushback and people were like, oh man, that's not so nice. That's cheating. That's a funny way to do it. But hey man, if it speeds up your painting and it gets miniatures from your hobby table to your gaming table, I'm good with that. We can leave the skillful painters with their Winsor Newtons, to their tools. But I think having these pens is good for newbies. You know, yeah, I think it's a more of a newbie thing. However, uh, when the sets do come in, I will try them out, to see whether it will help make my painting easier, combining both pens and brushes. Finally, there's this figure I want you to have a look at. This is the founders exclusive, the Yoroni, and it's a duel, which I thought was kind of cool. The Conquest founder sets have been quite popular. You know, we have a small group of painters who paint just for the sake of it, and because of that, um, there's a need for really nice looking sculpts that are like showpiece, right? And more and more the conquest stuff seems to be answering that calling for these painters. But more importantly, I think the whole conquest range is slowly getting gaining ground here in Malaysia. The thing is a really good thing. The few folks who are playing it uh, seem to enjoy it, and I think there's a future for this game. To be honest, whether it will eclipse any of the other more popular games, I'm not so sure. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Oh, and before I forget, there's the another release from Mantic Games, and this is the Battle for Forovox. Am I saying that right? And this is basically the epic, epic Warpath. Is that right? Epic Warpath game. No, when Warpath first arrived, came out from Mantic Games, we bought a whole lot of stuff from for Warpath. We still have some of the old starters, in stock. So having it go down to epic, it's kind of cool, to have all the ranges from all the whole period of Mantic's push in the sci-fi scene. But I also like the fact that it feels like epic Space Marines, right? The epic system that another grimdark company used to promote, right? Strongly. So now this is the first start, and as you can see, the box is filled with like tons and tons of miniatures, as it should. I think the only problem I see with this set is the background or the fluff is not as strong as another perhaps grimdark um, universe. But I think that can be fixed. Just a couple of good writers. And you get the story up, and suddenly you know the world comes alive, right? And I think if anything, playing miniature games does rely heavily on what the miniatures represent, and if you can get that right, the game is on its way. So it's kind of cool that Warpath has this epic range out, and it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see where it goes from here. All right, so that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all I've got. I'm sure there are other bits of news which I totally forgot about, and if I did, yeah, send me a WhatsApp, send me a comment. If you are wondering, yeah, again, we are broadcasting out of Malaysia, and feel free to ask what it's like gaming here. We are actually thinking, as I'm actually thinking about like focusing a little bit more on the Malaysian gaming scene. If you're interested, let me know. Or else I'll probably just do more unboxings and more flip throughs and stuff like that. We are trying to get some equipment together to do some battle reports. Um, but all this is dependent upon financing and resources, stuff like that. But until that happens, we'll keep on releasing as many videos as we can, um, weekly, right? So that's pretty much it. Please like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Give us some support. Halfway around the world, halfway across the world, halfway on the other side of the world. Am I saying that right? Okay, yeah. Give us some support anywhere you are, and don't forget to enjoy playing those videos.